Hey guys, my name is Kevin, and my senior capstone research project is titled "Time is Year-Round Schooling Effective?" So just some background information, kind of like my vignette of my paper. In high school, like my junior and senior year of high school, I did both high school and secondary schooling. So I went to my community college, and I got some classes done there. And it was kind of cool to see that some of my friends even pursued it further and took classes at the community college during the summer, which was kind of crazy to me because I always needed that mental break. I always needed just a rest from like school and such. And then also seeing like some older friends, like in high school, you always had a few older friends, and then hearing about some of them drop out of college for unknown reasons or for different reasons, such as like they found a job and they're just working their way up, or they don't know what to do with their lives. So just different things like that. And kind of going off of that, and if they were burned out or not, which is what my topic's all about. So here's a clip. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but it stresses what my topic's about.
Hello. Whom of you has never had a friend who was suffering stress, anxiety, depression, tension? Whom of you has never had a moment that you were worried that you were forgetting some words, or worried if your memory is still functioning well? Because centuries ago, this only happened when you were 85. But recently we discover in our society that even young people, I even get emails from school children who are asking me, "Doctor, am I suffering a burnout?" And unfortunately, it starts at younger and younger ages. And what happens is that when stress, whatever kind of stress that happens in our lives, is stimulating our adrenaline, our cortisol, and several other stress hormones, there's a kind of a poisoning of the brain. And the first organ that's attacked is part of our brain, the hippocampus, where the concentration in our memory is situated. And because of that, we are getting difficulty in being focused on that what we want, on who we want to be and what we want to achieve in life. And more we start to experience, when stress is happening, negative stress at least, that we have the feeling like we don't have our brain as an organ anymore in order to make the right decisions and to live a happy life. It's like some people start to feel the hopelessness and the sadness. Some people start to feel anxiety and tension. Others are getting so tired that it's like they say, "I'm broken down and I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm completely losing myself." And this is happening more and more frequently. It's happening more and more since the mobile phone, since Facebook, since Messenger, since...
Okay, so that was kind of dry, but it gets the point across. So I'm comparing year-round schooling to traditional schooling, but ultimately I'm answering the question whether or not burnout percentages are higher or lower in either schooling. So the importance and problem, what is too much? When is that point where students say, "I can't study for this exam, it's too much," or "I can't even take this exam, my head's gonna burst," or "I can't finish out this semester because I just have too much going on personally," or even finishing out schooling in general. So the question I look at after is, how is learning maximized? What do you look at from there? What causes that? What do you look at? So what factors affect a student's learning? Some of the topics and themes, like on your handout that I'm going to be covering, are locus of control, mental health, amount of sleep, testing abilities, and then also student and professor satisfaction. So my country that I chose to compare it to, just because I didn't know too much about it, is Nigeria. And in Nigeria schooling, their academic year is from January to December, so year-round schooling, and it's broken down into 3 semesters with a month off between each semester. And teaching and learning is basically the ultimate key to satisfaction in like most schooling districts because of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and a contribution of positivity, mostly from the younger generations. And in turn, all that turns into academic achievement, which is the goal. Locus of control, just for those that don't know exactly what that is the extent to which individuals believe they can control events affecting them. So basically, everything that leads up to self-efficacy. So the more self-efficacious one is, the more opportunities there are. According to Tella and Adenali, for students who are more self-efficacious, they are more likely to undertake difficult, challenging tasks, exert more effort, persist longer in the face of difficulties, and tend to use more self-regulating strategies which lead to higher achievement. I think I passed something up. Yeah.
Oh, isn't the thing working?
Just backtrack for a minute. Okay, so the poll that I mentioned, you guys, once you type that in, just text A, B, C, or D to this question. Just in your opinion, what you think it is. It's also fill in the blank on your handout. What is the average dropout rate for year-round schools versus the average dropout rate for traditional schools? Do you think it's 1 to 3, 4 to 3, 2 to 5, or 3 to 4? And once you text in A, B, C, or D, you should be able to see what everyone else is answering to.
Which one's first? Year-round.
Yeah, year-round.
You just have to text the number?
Yep, you just A, B, C, or D.
Is A at the top, I'm assuming?
What?
It goes like
Yeah, A, B, C, or D.
Okay.
It says you haven't activated the poll yet.
It says I haven't activated the
Yep.
poll.
Yeah, mine went in. Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know, I tried it at work before.
There's the link from
Well, the answer to that, it's 2 to 5. So 2% of people tend to drop out in traditional schools, or year-round schools, sorry, and then 5% tend to drop out in traditional schools. So it's kind of weird to like put numbers in perspective for you guys too. Back to my topic information. Mental health leads to, it ultimately comes down to quality of life and how that affects burnout. So according to BRAC, education generates better mental health because it leads to occupations that provide the economic resources and the social status that help to enhance the individual's quality of life and sense of self-worth. So that's all mental game and what goes into that, external factors, internal factors, and how that plays effect in schools ultimately is what I'm looking at. Oops. Technology available. So my first point's class. I'm sure most of you guys have had to take the class Educational and Technology, and I learned a lot through that, such as learning like how to work a Google Doc, how to make an infograph, how to deal with different apps, and it was just kind of cool to see how that is essentially more time efficient and maximizes learning because it speeds things up and also varies the classroom. So everyone learns at different rates and different levels. There's auditory, visual, and kinesthetic learners. So you can use an app if you're more auditory. You can have something with sound. If there's matching, that's more visual, obviously, and then hands-on, you can do different things with technology, obviously, laptops, apps, phones, etc. And technology just plays a key role in either traditional or year-round schooling, but how it affects, essentially lessens burnout. Amount of sleep, probably one that you don't think about too often because, you know, we've all been there, you pull on later because you have a huge exam or you just haven't had enough time that week before. In Nigeria, they have this sleep shift that they call it. It was found by Sanya that during teenage phase of Nigerian students, there's a shift in sleep/wake pattern that is relative to alternation of intrinsic and extrinsic developmental changes caused from biological, psychological, and sociological factors. So it's kind of interesting to hear. And then also things that play into sleep are school schedules, like such as starting and closing times, age, parental directions, and hormonal levels. And then also extracurricular activities depending on what's going on also. And then sleep insufficiency, so not getting enough sleep, has been known to cause impaired cognitive function and psychological issues. Testing abilities, obviously that's what how education is measured. So getting down to the core of that and how you do on a test is how nations get numbers and so on. So something that's majorly been looked at, according to my topic, is like the summer gaps and how that could be hurtful in certain situations. Some people don't remember things, some people don't know how to write again. I don't know about you guys, if you come back to school and like it's weird to write, that's like 3 months that wouldn't necessarily happen in a year-round schooling system. And then again, I read another article that disproved that achievement doesn't differ among schooling systems. So whether it's traditional year-round, the achievement's the same. So it's kind of cool to see battling differences there. And then teacher and student satisfaction. In some countries, it's interesting to see how teachers are valued more than others, relating to Stephanie's topic. But essentially all my information, or most of my information I got from this topic was from interviews. Notably 2 were from Eddie and Felix. Eddie, so to backtrack, they both preferred to have school in America, which was really interesting to me because, I don't know, just seeing how like strong of research I found that year-round schooling is more beneficial. It was weird to see that 2 people that I come in contact with preferred our schooling. But Eddie said he'd rather have had more constructive student-teacher relationship after experiencing America. So he said in his country of Ghana, it was more of him just being a number. So I guess that's like us going to OSU or something. And then Felix was from Rwanda, and he mentioned that education did not prepare him for life outside of his country, which I guess could pertain to us in certain aspects. We only get so much geography, we only get so much opportunities to study abroad, or whether that be financial reasons or so on. So he dealt with much cultural shock, such as, he said cussing was a big one. He didn't really know how to deal with those situations for a while. Or as simple as walking past strangers and smiling. He thought that was very weird. That was not from how he came from. So that was very interesting to learn too. And then the other handout I gave you guys was a school burnout inventory. You could just spend a minute or 2 looking at it and rate yourself. I think it's 1 to 6. It's just kind of a self-assessment thing to see like how burned out you are, and seeing how other people might view certain burnout aspects. So for that sheet, there's not necessarily a scale, but it's kind of, like I said, a self-assessment to assess where you are according to like your mental capacity and how much you can take with stuff going on internally, let alone your schoolwork. So if you guys have any questions, that's the end of my presentation.